So, I wanted to speak on something that I've kind of noticed with several people on and on in life, but I was thinking about a coworker that I used to have, and she was like something was always going on in her life, something was always wrong. Um, she was always sick or just going through unfortunate events, just back to back to back to back. And me and her, we talked a lot, and we definitely talked on kind of deep personal things, and I kind of started to notice a few things, and even not just her, but when I go and talk to other people as well, who tend to have a very similar life, where they're always having, unfortunately, bad things just keep happening to them. Something that I kind of notice in these people's lives is kind of a level of accountability, and some people, it's kind of like half and half. Some of them like refuse to hold themselves accountable, and a lot of people that I see who are on this first type A person that I tend to see who struggle with this is that a lot of times these people, they have some sort of mental health issue, to say the least. You can kind of tell with that they have some sort of personality disorder or mental health issue that will cause them to not be able to have that kind of awareness about themselves or their environment. So you have that type A person where they're mentally not there, their screws are not connected right, and that's something that they will need to see a psychiatrist for if they choose to do that. A lot of those people, they would never go and see a psychiatrist or go and get mental health, 'cause that mean taking accountability for the things that they've done. So you'll see that, or at least in my life, I've seen that a lot with narcissists and just people with those kind of tendencies or various of mental health issues. It can be a wide array of things. And then the second type of person that I see who life tends to be like this is these are kind of the people who just accepts or don't realize that they are the common denominator in their problems. And so they'll just keep kind of being the victim over and over and over and over and over again, and they don't ever realize that life keeps throwing problems at them to get them to kind of learn, or something that they need to change. So sometimes I'll see the type B group people, they'll try to do a few different things. They would typically try to do something that's very physical or 3D realm to kind of fix the issue, but that's typically not the problem. So you'll see them, let's say they'll have, always health issues, always getting sick, always this, always that, and they'll try to fix it with vitamins, or thinking that if they work out, it'll fix everything, not realizing that their relationship is the cause of them having the flu every 3 weeks. Like, it's sometimes they think, oh, I need to get in more vitamins, I need this, no, it's your relationship that's causing that. It's your lifestyle choices. A lot of people don't realize how one aspect connects to everything else. And so these people, they'll always have issues. Something is always something. Dog died, cat died, they got sick, they got the flu, they in the hospital. This person is got this going on. That person got this going on. They done lost their jobs. They done got a new job, and they lost that job. They have a hard time realizing that they're the common denominator, and that the things that they're doing isn't helping. And so they keep doing the wrong thing over and over and over again. And they just create a perpetual victim cycle. So, and, these people, it's kind of hard to get them to kind of realize that, because some of these things be like, oh, well, that wasn't my fault, or this wasn't my fault, or I didn't ask for that to happen. Yes, but how you respond, how you move on, and if you allow that to happen. Because, for example, some people be like, well, I didn't ask to get cheated on. Well, you were already seeing signs from the beginning that you were choosing to ignore, that you were hoping weren't true. And so, while yes, you didn't necessarily ask to be cheated on, but you didn't set up nor stick to any boundaries. And so these kind of people, you would just constantly see them go through things and this and that. And these are people who you don't ever see them be able to catch a break, because they're used to being the victim. Whether they're person A, who has a mental issue that can vary to a bunch of different things. We're not here to diagnose anybody, but in my lifetime, a lot of these people tend to not want to accept accountability. And then you have the second group, group B, where a few bad things will happen in life when they're younger, and they just accept being a victim. And things always are happening to them. They don't know why. They feel like life is on hard mode, extreme, difficult mode, and they kind of see that, oh, it's this person to blame, that person to blame, that company, that billionaire to blame for all of my issues and problems and this and that, not realizing that through all of those issues, they are always the common denominator. And they don't realize that the reason why they can't catch a break it's because of themselves. They have something going on where they want to be in a victim mentality. And it's not something that's easy to get out of, realizing that a lot of things were your fault in a sense. Because at the end of the day, it's your job to protect yourself once you become an adult. And sometimes when people grow up in childhoods where they weren't protected, or their adults never acted like adults, they can grow up feeling like these things in life just happen to you. Bad things are always happening back to back to back, because their parents or caretakers always had things happening back to back to back to back to back. So, as people grow up thinking that all this negative stuff in life is supposed to happen, that's not true. That's not true. Of course, bad things are gonna happen, but it shouldn't be happening every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. If you get out a journal and you write down for 6 months how many bad things happened in those 6 months, and sometimes some things can seem bad initially, but they might end up being a good thing. You know, sometimes we can be a little bit uncomfortable with change, so in the beginning those things can seem kind of bad, but they really weren't. But I'm talking about like things that are bad. It's not a perspective thing or issue. That's generally a bad thing, whether that's getting sick, your car breaking down, this or that, or you know, you have late fees on a bill or something. Start writing those things down with the date. And if you start noticing that, dang, I can't seem to catch a break, you're missing something. You're missing something that life's trying to tell you. Or you keep running into the same issue because whatever you're doing isn't fixing it. It's not fixing it. You keep running into this, and that. Can't ever catch a break. You need to stop whatever you're doing and figure things out and go a different route that you haven't been going before. Even if it feels and seems scary, go down a different route, because the things you have been doing ain't working. If stuff keeps happening every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, a lot of the things that you're doing are counterproductive. So I will end with that. Maybe I could go deeper into that at a later date, but that's all I wanted to say.